Welcome, dear listener, to Simple Conversation Practice. This is your space, your safe corner, your moment to slow down. Take a gentle breath in, and now release it softly. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your eyes grow heavy. This is your time to rest, to learn, and to dream. Tonight, as you listen, you will hear a story, a calm, slow story. You will hear gentle English words woven through it. You don't need to force yourself to remember them. Just allow them to drift into your mind, the way clouds drift across the sky, slowly, quietly, naturally. So now, my friend, put your phone to the side. Let the screen go dark. Lie back. Close your eyes. Feel the softness of the pillow under your head, and let the sound of my voice carry you forward. The story begins. Alara was a young woman who lived in a peaceful valley. Her house was small, with white walls and a red roof. Around her home stretched fields of golden grass that swayed in the evening wind. A river curved nearby, its waters always singing, soft and clear. Every evening, when the work of the day was done, Alara would step outside. She liked to walk slowly through the fields, listening to the whispers of nature. The sky would change its colors, soft orange, deep purple, gentle silver as the moon began to rise. She often spoke to herself in English as she walked. It was her secret practice. She would whisper simple words like sky, tree, river, night. She would repeat them softly, letting them float into her memory. One evening, as the stars began to appear, Alara walked further than usual. She carried her small notebook in her hands. In it were simple English sentences she had written that week. She opened it and read softly. I am walking. The air is fresh. I feel calm. She repeated the lines once, twice, slowly, calmly. I am walking. The air is fresh. I feel calm. The rhythm of her voice blended with the rhythm of her footsteps. Step by step, word by word. It felt natural. She thought to herself, this is how I learn. Not with stress, not with pressure, but with patience, with peace. At the edge of the field, she reached the river. The water glowed under the silver light of the moon. She stood there quietly, listening. Then she whispered again, I see the moon. I hear the water. I feel peace. Her voice was soft. The words were simple, but they carried power. Now, my listener, repeat them silently in your mind. I see the moon. I hear the water. I feel peace. Notice how gentle they are. Notice how your mind accepts them without resistance. You don't need to study. You don't need to translate. Just listen. Just absorb. Alara often met an old man by the river path. His name was Darren. He had a kind smile, a quiet voice, and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of many years. That evening, he greeted her softly. Good evening, he said. Alara smiled and replied, Good evening. The words were simple, yet every time she spoke them, she felt her confidence grow. She sat with Darren by the riverbank. They listened to the water for a long while. Then he said, Learning is like this river. It flows, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, but it always moves forward. Alara nodded. She wrote the sentence in her notebook. Then she whispered in English, "The river flows. I learn slowly, but I always move forward." Darren smiled at her effort. He knew that repeating words under the stars with no pressure, no judgment, was more powerful than hours of struggle. The night grew darker. The crickets began to sing. The air turned cooler, and Alara felt her heart become lighter, calmer, more open. She looked up at the sky. It was full of stars. She whispered softly, "Star, night, dream, sleep." And as she spoke, she felt ready to rest. My dear listener, let these words be yours too. Star, night, dream, sleep. Repeat them silently, slowly. Allow them to settle inside you. Alara began walking home, step by step. The path was quiet. The moonlight painted silver shadows on the ground. Inside her house, a small candle glowed. The light was warm, soft, gentle. She placed her notebook on the table. She whispered the last line of the evening, "I am safe. I am learning. I am at peace." She lay down on her bed. The sound of the river drifted through the window. Her eyes grew heavy. Her breath became slow. And as she closed her eyes, she whispered once more, "Good night." Now, dear listener, feel the story blending with your own evening. You too are safe. You too are learning. You too are at peace. Breathe slowly. Rest deeply. Let the English words flow into your dreams, softly and naturally. Alara steps out of her cottage, into the gentle hush of dusk. The sun has just slipped below the horizon, leaving streaks of soft pink and orange in the sky. A cool evening breeze greets her, carrying the sweet scent of jasmine from a nearby garden. She takes a slow, deep breath and feels her shoulders relax. I am walking, she thinks quietly to herself as she starts down the little lane, each footstep steady and light. The village path is narrow and familiar, lined with old oak trees and low stone fences. Most of the villagers are indoors now, their day's work done, so the world outside is calm and still. Through an open window, Alara hears faint laughter from a family finishing supper, but the sound only adds to the cozy peace of the evening. Gravel crunches softly under her shoes in a comforting rhythm. As she walks, she feels the day's worries melt away. I feel calm, she whispers under her breath, practicing the simple English phrase and truly feeling its meaning sink in with each gentle step. A soft rustling comes from the trees as a mild breeze passes through their leaves. The sky above grows deeper blue with every passing moment. One by one, stars begin to appear, tiny, friendly lights twinkling in the vast sky. Alara notices the first star and pauses for a moment. "Star," she says softly, practicing the word as if greeting the little light. Then she adds in a quiet voice, "It is a beautiful night." The simple sentence floats into the silence and makes her smile. There is no rush, no pressure, just a quiet joy at being here in this moment with these gentle words. As she continues her walk, a lantern hanging from a wooden post flickers to life at the far end of the lane. Its warm golden glow beckons her forward, illuminating the path in dancing light and shadow. Alara walks slowly toward it, her posture relaxed and her breathing steady. In the soft glow, she can see tiny moths dancing around the lantern's flame. The scene feels gentle and timeless, as if the village itself is whispering a lullaby. Elara lets English words flow naturally through her mind as she walks. She quietly says, "Good evening," as if speaking to the night itself. The phrase is calm and clear. Good evening, a polite, peaceful greeting to the world around her. She imagines the trees and stars silently replying with their presence. Each simple phrase she practices finds its place effortlessly in the moment. Elara does not force herself to memorize or study right now. She simply allows the words to drift through her thoughts, like the evening breeze drifting through the leaves. Walking along the winding path, Elara feels completely at ease. The soft whisper of wind in the branches, the distant trickle of the village river ahead, and the gentle words in her mind all blend together. I am walking. I feel calm, she repeats to herself. The English phrases echo sweetly in her head, matching the easy pace of her steps. With every breath in and out, she relaxes further. The peaceful night and the soft words guide her, hand in hand, into a state of deep tranquility. Under the moon and stars, before long, Elara reaches the village river, a small stream that winds gently past the houses. The faint trickle of water grows clearer as she approaches. A little wooden bridge arches over the stream, and she steps onto it, coming to a pause at the center. The river below whispers as it flows, reflecting the night sky on its rippling surface. Elara leans on the wooden railing and gazes down at the dark water. The moon has risen now, round and silver white, and she can see its shining reflection dancing in the current. For a moment she simply listens. The soft chorus of crickets blends with the quiet gurgle of water over stones. A night bird coos from a distant tree. All around is calm and still. Elara closes her eyes and takes another slow, deep breath, savoring the cool night air. As she exhales, she opens her eyes and looks up at the moon hanging low in the sky. In a gentle voice she says, "The moon is bright." Speaking this simple English sentence aloud feels natural here. The moon is bright. The moon's glow on the water makes it true. Elara's words fade into the night, and she smiles softly at the moon as if it were an old friend. She continues to practice in this peaceful moment. Looking down at the water, she whispers, "The water is calm." The river's smooth, steady flow makes this sentence perfectly fitting. She then falls silent and simply listens again. "I hear the water," she thinks to herself in English, without even needing to say it out loud. The gentle sound of the stream is clear to her ears. "I hear the water." She lets the phrase repeat in her mind in time with the quiet current. Each simple sentence comes to her like a naturally flowing part of the scene. Elara stays on the little bridge for a while, immersed in the tranquil night. Silver moonlight filters through the trees along the riverbank, casting soft patterns on the ground. Fireflies flicker among the reeds and wildflowers near the water's edge, tiny stars dancing close to the earth. She watches their glow and feels a deep sense of harmony with everything around her. Her heart beats slowly and gently, matching the peaceful rhythm of the night. In this quiet hour, her mind is open and clear. Without effort, English words and phrases drift through her thoughts, describing what she senses. It feels as if the language is part of the breeze and the starlight, entering her mind as softly as the night dew on grass. She is learning without even trying. Each new word finds a home in her memory, as calmly as a leaf floating on the stream. After a few more minutes, Alara gives a last loving glance to the river and the moon's reflection wavering on its surface. "Good night, river," she murmurs softly, offering a fond farewell to the water for now. With her heart light and her mind refreshed, she steps off the bridge on the far side. The path curves ahead, leading her back toward the cozy lights of the village. As Alara moves on, she carries the serenity of the river with her. The English phrases she practiced still glow quietly in her thoughts, like gentle stars shining within her, village lights and friendly greetings. Walking back into the heart of the village, Alara follows the familiar road toward home. The night has grown darker now, and most cottages are quiet. Warm yellow light spills from a few windows where families are gently winding down for the night. In other houses, lamps have been extinguished, leaving only faint silver outlines in the moonlight. The cobbled street is nearly empty, and Alara's soft footsteps echo lightly between the cozy stone homes. She feels completely at peace, strolling through her sleepy village under the watchful moon and the twinkling stars. As she rounds a corner by the old oak tree in the village square, Alara spots a neighbor sitting on her front porch. The elderly woman, Mrs. Quinn, rocks slowly in a chair with a quilt over her lap, enjoying the mild night air. A small lantern at her feet casts a gentle glow around her porch. Alara gives a little wave and approaches quietly, so as not to startle her. "Good evening, Mrs. Quinn," Alara says softly. Her voice is warm but hushed, respecting the calm of the late hour. The older woman smiles kindly. "Good evening, Alara," she replies in a gentle tone. "Out for a night walk?" Alara nods and returns a peaceful smile. "Yes, just a little walk. It's a beautiful night," she says, echoing the simple English words she practiced earlier. Mrs. Quinn looks up at the starry sky and the glowing moon. "Oh, it truly is," she agrees. "Such a peaceful night." For a moment they both gaze upward in comfortable silence. The village is so quiet that they can hear the soft chirp of crickets and the distant hush of the river from here. After a few breaths, the neighbor pats her knee and speaks again softly. "Well, have a good night, dear. Sleep well," she says, her eyes crinkling with kindness. "Thank you. Good night," Alara answers with a gentle smile. It warms her heart to exchange these sincere, simple phrases. She gives a small wave as Mrs. Quinn nods and then retreats indoors. The porch lantern is snuffed out a moment later as the elderly lady retires for bed. Alara continues along the lane, passing the last few houses before her own. She notices a tabby cat curled up on a doorstep, blinking slowly at her as she walks by. "Hello, cat," she whispers playfully, giving it a tiny wave too. The cat purrs in reply, its eyes drifting closed in contentment. Everything around her is peaceful and unhurried. Alara reflects on how even a few simple words shared with a neighbor, good evening, good night, can fill the darkness with warmth and friendship. Even in silence, she feels connected to her little world through these gentle greetings and the quiet understanding they carry. As she walks the final steps toward home, a comfortable drowsiness begins to settle over her. The long day is behind her now, and her body welcomes the thought of rest. Soon, Alara reaches the small gate of her cottage. The home looks warm and welcoming in the darkness. Through her window, she sees the soft glow of a single candle she left burning on the table, casting gentle golden shadows inside. She opens the gate and walks up the short garden path to her door, grateful for the calm and simple beauty of the evening. With one last glance at the star-filled sky above, Alara slips quietly inside her cottage, ready to end her night on a note of comfort and peace. Night, peaceful heart. Inside her cottage, the air is warm and still. Alara closes the door softly behind her, shutting out the quiet sounds of the night. The single candle on her table fills the small room with a gentle golden glow. Shadows of the few furnishings, a wooden chair, a shelf of books, a vase of dried lavender, dance lazily on the walls. She takes a moment to light a second small candle by her bedside, making the room even cozier. The quiet room carries the faint scent of lavender and wax. She feels safe here in her little haven. The stillness inside is like a soft blanket wrapping around her. Alara changes into her soft cotton nightdress and folds her clothes neatly on a chair. She then sits on the edge of her bed, letting her bare feet rest against the cool wooden floor. For a minute, she simply listens to the silence. In the distance, through the cracked window, she hears a whisper of the breeze and the faint chirp of crickets outside. Her own heartbeat is slow and steady, matching the hush of the room. She feels profoundly grateful for the peace of this evening. Every part of her is beginning to relax. Before lying down, Alara pours herself a small cup of water from a clay jug and takes a sip. The water is cool and refreshing. She realizes how calm and ready for rest she is. Her evening walk has filled her mind with quiet English phrases and her heart with tranquility. I am calm, she thinks, recognizing how true those words are. She knows that the gentle words she practiced tonight are now a part of her, settling into her memory like seeds in a silent garden. There is no rush and no pressure. They will grow in her mind naturally, even as she sleeps. Alara trusts that even in her dreams, the words will stay with her, perhaps drifting through her rest like familiar, comforting stars. Now, with the day complete, she lets go of any remaining thoughts and allows herself to simply be. Alara sets the cup down and softly blows out the candle on the table, leaving just the warm light of the bedside candle flickering. She pulls back the quilt and slips into bed. The mattress is soft and welcoming, and she sinks into it with a content sigh. She draws the light blanket over herself, feeling its gentle weight bring comfort. Laying her head on the cool pillow, she takes a slow, deep breath, then exhales fully. Each breath out releases the last bit of tension in her body. For a moment, She watches the candle flame's soft glow dance on the ceiling above. Its slow, steady flicker is like a tiny guardian watching over her, soothing and calm. Alara looks toward her window one last time. Through the glass, she can see a few stars peeking and the faint glow of the moon behind the trees. "Good night," she whispers to the night, her voice as soft as a feather. Her eyes grow heavy as she finally lets them close. "I am at peace," she tells herself silently, and a small, happy smile forms on her lips. In this quiet moment, Alara drifts into a deep and sweet sleep, warm, safe, and truly at peace. The soft light of morning creeps slowly into Alara's cottage. A faint golden glow spreads across the wooden floor as the first rays of sunlight slip through the curtains. Birds outside are already awake, their cheerful songs weaving into the silence of dawn. Alara stirs in her bed, eyes still closed, breathing steady. For a few moments she lies perfectly still, wrapped in warmth, listening to the soft music of the morning world. A sparrow chirps from the garden, a distant rooster calls, and the leaves outside rustle with a gentle breeze. Finally, Alara opens her eyes. The room feels fresh and filled with promise. She turns her head toward the window and sees the pale blue sky above the trees. A smile touches her lips as she whispers her first words of the day, "Good morning." She says the phrase softly, like a greeting to both the morning and to herself. The English words feel fresh and light, like the morning air. She repeats them again, a little louder this time. "Good morning." The sound of her voice mixes with the birdsong outside, making her heart feel brighter. Slowly, she sits up in bed and stretches her arms toward the ceiling. Her body wakes gently, her muscles relaxing into the new day. She breathes in deeply through her nose, filling her lungs with the crisp scent of dawn, and then exhales slowly. "I feel fresh," she says in English, noticing how true the sentence feels. The words carry both sound and meaning together, making her morning practice natural and effortless. Morning rituals. Alara slips out of bed and lights a small candle on the table, the same way she does every morning. The golden flame flickers, glowing against the soft blue daylight that enters her room. On the wooden shelf nearby, she takes down her small clay jug and pours fresh water into a cup. She drinks slowly, the coolness waking her body fully. Holding the cup in her hands, she says quietly, "The water is cool." The phrase is simple, but it fits perfectly with the sensation she feels. She is not studying. She is simply noticing and naming, living inside both the language and the moment. Afterward, she moves to the window and pulls back the curtain. A gentle breeze enters, carrying the smell of wet earth and blooming flowers. Outside, her little garden is bright with morning light. Bees hum over blossoms, and butterflies drift lazily among the petals. She rests her hands on the wooden sill and whispers, "The flowers are beautiful." The English words match the sight so well that they feel inseparable. She watches a butterfly land on a purple flower and adds softly, "The butterfly is small." The words come to her easily, like companions for her thoughts. For a few minutes, Alara simply stands there, observing the little world outside her window and quietly naming what she sees. The sky is blue. The tree is tall. The bird is singing. Each phrase is gentle and true, flowing naturally from her senses into words. She does not worry about grammar or memory. She lets her senses guide her practice, knowing that the words will stay with her because they are tied to real, living moments. Breakfast and quiet joy. With the day beginning, Alara moves to her small kitchen corner. She places a pan on the fire and prepares a simple breakfast of bread and milk. The bread is warm, its crust golden brown, and the milk is fresh from the morning delivery. As she eats, she continues her practice in small ways. She takes a bite of bread and softly says, "The bread is warm." Then she drinks from her cup and murmurs, "The milk is fresh." These are not lessons, they are observations, spoken naturally as part of her morning life. While eating, she thinks about her walk from the night before. The lantern glow, the river's calm reflection, the soft greetings exchanged with Mrs. Quinn. The memory fills her heart with peace. "It was a beautiful night," she says to herself in English, repeating the sentence slowly and letting its meaning sink in. She feels grateful, not only for the night itself, but also for how gently the language has become a part of her life. After finishing her breakfast, Alara cleans her little table. She places the cup back on the shelf and wipes the wooden surface with a cloth. "The table is clean," she says softly, smiling at her own simple phrase. Each word feels like a step on a quiet path, small, steady, but always moving forward. A day of learning begins. By now, the village outside has grown livelier. Children's voices echo faintly in the distance as they play near the square. A cart rolls past, its wheels crunching on the dirt road. Neighbors greet one another as they step out of their homes. Alara feels ready to join the day, carrying with her the calm she gathered from her walk and the gentle English words she has practiced this morning. She wraps her shawl around her shoulders, takes a final sip of water, and whispers to herself one last phrase before stepping out. "I am ready." The words ring true. She is ready, not just for the tasks of the day, but for the ongoing journey of weaving English into her thoughts, her feelings, and her everyday life. With that, Alara opens her cottage door, letting the fresh sunlight pour in, and steps out to begin her new day with quiet confidence. The sun rises slowly above the rooftops, turning the village stones golden and warm. Alara opens her window and lets in the mild air of morning. The curtains lift and fall like soft waves. She stands there for a breath or two, listening to sparrows. "Good morning," she whispers to herself, then repeats it with a smile. "Good morning, good morning, good morning." The words feel bright in her mouth, like sunlight warming her cheeks. Her body answers with a long, easy stretch. She feels the space in her shoulders and the calm in her belly. She is rested, and the day is kind. She washes her face with cool water from a clay bowl and dries it on a soft cloth. The simple routine steadies her thoughts. She looks at her hands, steady, gentle, and says, as if greeting her own reflection, "I am ready, I am ready, I am ready." She does not rush. She does not crowd the morning with plans. She lets the day arrive with its own rhythm, When she steps outside, light gathers in the lane like something liquid, flowing between the houses and around the corners. The cobblestones shine a little, still damp with the last of the night's dew. Alara breathes in deeply. The village smells faintly of baked bread, damp earth, and the sweet tang of citrus peels warming in the sun on someone's windowsill. She places her palm lightly over her heart and takes 3 slow breaths. "I am walking," she says softly as she begins down the lane, and then again, to let the words become the pace of her feet. "I am walking. I am walking." Mr. Rowan, the blacksmith, stands in his open workshop doorway, rolling up the sleeves of his linen shirt. He lifts a hand in greeting, his smile easy and familiar. "Good morning, Alara." She returns the smile. "Good morning, Mr. Rowan." The exchange is simple, and because it is simple, it feels like a blessing. Language, she thinks, is a bridge that is built brick by brick, word by word, until one day you look up and realize you are already crossing. Children dart past in a fearless ribbon of laughter, chasing a red ball toward the square. One child pauses to wave. Alara waves back, repeating to herself, quietly, happily, "The children are happy. The children are happy." The sentence is true, and because it is true, it stays. Outside the baker's shop, crates are stacked with flour sacks, and a friendly cat dozes on top as if guarding treasure. The baker's bell tinkles when someone enters. The door closes. The bell rests again. Alara's steps fall into a pleasant rhythm, a gentle heel-toe that matches the soft, steady beat of the village waking. "I am walking," she thinks once more, letting the phrase drift like a feather over her thoughts. She isn't trying to remember. She is noticing, naming, and allowing. At the fountain, she pauses and rests both hands on the warm stone. Water arcs and falls, endless and patient. "The water is clear," she murmurs, watching sunlight break into small diamonds on the ripples. Then again, with a slower breath, "The water is clear, the water is clear." The words are cool on her tongue. The morning enters her like a promise. She turns toward the market street. Behind her, the fountain keeps singing, and above, the sky brightens into its shore blue. Alara feels a little lift inside, quiet joy, unadorned. "I feel happy," she says gently, and after a small pause, "I feel happy. I feel happy." She nods to herself. Yes, this is how the day begins. The market spreads itself in colors. Greens piled in a bright hillside of lettuces and herbs, polished red apples lined like little lanterns, baskets of oranges glowing as if they hold the afternoon sun, jars of honey with bees still curious in the air above them. Voices mingle softly. A mother asks for 2 lemons. A boy offers a small coin and points to a plum. A merchant laughs and weighs a mound of grapes with practiced hands. The market is a gentle tide of please and thank you, and Alara steps into that tide with her own small phrases, letting them carry her. She stops at the baker's counter outside the door. Inside, the big ovens hum quietly like sleeping animals. On the shelf nearest her, she sees round loaves with blistered crusts, braided bread dusted with sugar, and rolls so soft they almost look like folded cloth. She places a hand over her heart again to steady her breath. This helps her speak English clearly, and she says, "I am buying bread. I am buying bread. I am buying bread." Mrs. Quinn, the baker, hears her and grins. "Practicing again, dear?" Mrs. Quinn asks, tying twine around a paper-wrapped loaf. Alara nods. "Yes, I am buying bread," she repeats once, like a small joy she can hold. The sentence fits the moment. That is why she remembers it. Mrs. Quinn passes the warm bundle across the counter. Alara inhales the soft steam. "Thank you," she says, then to really feel the words land, "Thank you, thank you." At the fruit cart, red apples glow like polished hearts. The vendor, a man with laugh lines etched deep, wipes one on his sleeve and holds it out for her to try. Alara bites, and crisp sweetness breaks open. "I like apples," she tells him, the truth becoming the lesson. "I like apples. I like apples." The vendor nods, delighted by both her sentence and her smile. He smiles back and adds, in careful English of his own, "Apples are sweet." They repeat the line together, softly, like a shared secret. Apples are sweet. For a breath, the market seems to pause and sip the sound. She chooses 2 apples and points to a handful of cherries resting in a small woven basket. "How much is this?" she asks slowly, so each word is clear. "How much is this? How much is this?" The vendor taps the paper scale, gives the price in the village coins, and holds up fingers to be sure. Alara counts the coins into his open palm, proud of how her voice stayed calm and kind. He wraps the fruit with care and tucks 1 extra cherry in as a gift. "For your practice," he says with a wink. Alara laughs. "Thank you," she says, and lets the gratitude be full. At the herb stand, pale green mint and feathery dill make a small forest. A young woman bundles a fragrant mix and ties it with thread the color of rain. Alara leans forward and breathes in. The scent clears her thoughts. "It smells fresh," she says, then repeats because the air seems to want it. "It smells fresh. It smells fresh." The herb seller nods as if she, too, is soothed by the sound. Language, Alara thinks again, is not only for the mind, it is for the body, the breath and the chest, and the rhythm of the hands as they give and receive. Before she leaves the market, Alara stops at a small table where Mira, the girl who collects words, sits with her notebook. "Do you have a phrase for me today?" Mira asks, eyes bright. Alara considers the morning and how gently it has carried her. She says, "I feel calm." She lets the phrase rest, then says it again with her eyes closed, as if placing it carefully inside. "I feel calm. I feel calm." Mira writes it with looping letters and repeats it back, matching Alara's pace. The phrase settles between them like a folded blanket, warm, useful, ready to be picked up whenever it's needed. Alara waves goodbye to the vendors and steps out of the market's gentle tide. "See you soon," she calls softly to Mrs. Quinn and the fruit seller, then once more, because farewell becomes a practice too. "See you soon, see you soon." She turns toward the river path with a small bag against her hip, light with bread and fruit, heavy with the soft gold of the morning. The path to the river starts as a narrow ribbon between tall grasses. Crickets scratch a delicate music from their green instruments. Dragonflies write brief messages on the air with bright wings. Alara slows even more, not because she is tired, but because this is the kind of beauty that asks you to walk the way a poem moves. Line by line, breath by breath. She hears the water before she sees it, and the water sounds like the idea of rest. When the river appears, it is the color of quiet steel under the noon light. The current moves in long, silky threads. Sun dazzles on the surface until she has to shade her eyes with her hand. She stands on the small wooden bridge and leans into the smooth rail. "The water is clear," she says to the day itself. The sentence is cool and true. The water is clear. The water is clear. She watches minnows flicker. She watches a leaf decide whether to turn or to float flat. She watches light break and mend itself over stones. A fisherman stands knee-deep near the bend, line unspooled, hat tilted back. Alara lifts a hand and he returns the gesture. He doesn't speak, but he doesn't need to. The river is speaking for them both. She listens and feels something settle in her. "I feel happy," she whispers, like she's telling the truth to the water and asking the water to keep it. "I feel happy. I feel happy." She takes the paper-wrapped bread from her bag, breaks a small piece, and eats it slowly, letting the warm, yeasty taste expand on her tongue. With each soft chew, she looks around and names what is here. The sky is blue. A pause. The tree is tall. Another pause. The air is warm. These aren't lessons on a page. They are bridges to the world. The more she says them, the more the world steps closer and says them back. A little boy appears on the bridge with a stick boat he's made from a strip of bark, a leaf, and a twig mast. He sets it carefully on the water. The small craft spins once, then glides. "Sail," he says to it in his own language. Alara kneels beside him. "Boat," she offers in English, touching the air above it with a fingertip. "Boat," the boy repeats shyly. He grins and watches it travel. Together they say, "The boat is small," and then, for the joy of hearing it again, "The boat is small. The boat is small." He looks at her as if she has given him a secret, then runs downriver to meet his boat at the curve. Alara lingers. She traces a slow circle on the bridge rail with her thumb, noticing how language settles best when her breath is even. She places a hand over her belly to feel it rise and fall. "I am breathing slowly," she says to herself, and it becomes even slower. "I am breathing slowly. I am breathing slowly." The phrase works like a hand on her shoulder, easing the last tightness from the day. Clouds gather at the horizon, white sails drifting without hurry. The light shifts and the river changes its mood from silver to smoke, then back again. Alara lets the scene teach her. Without writing anything down, she learns. Without pushing, she remembers. When she finally steps off the bridge to follow the path home, the phrases follow with her like soft-footed friends. By late afternoon, the village loosens into its evening. The shadows stretch and soften. A mild wind moves through the poplars with a soothing hush. Alara walks the long way home, just to keep her steps inside this light a bit longer. She passes the fountain again and places her palm on the warm stone. She doesn't need to speak, but she does anyway, because the words feel right in the mouth of the day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The tea stall near the square has set out small cups on a tray. Steam rises in small white flags. Alara sits on the wooden bench and wraps her hands around a cup the owner slides toward her. The cup warms her fingers and somehow the center of her chest. She takes a slow sip and says, "I am drinking tea." She pauses and lets the sentence match the sip. I am drinking tea. I am drinking tea. The owner nods as if he can taste her calm. People pass by speaking gently to one another, their voices like threads weaving the evening into a cozy cloth. Mira rushes up, cheeks pink with excitement, and opens her notebook to show Alara a page filled with tidy lines. "Look," she says, "today I practiced, I feel calm, and I wrote it 3 times. She taps the page proudly. Alara beams and answers in the same slow music. I feel calm. I feel calm. I feel calm. They sit quietly together, just breathing, until Mira's mother calls her in for supper. "See you soon," the girl chirps, and Alara returns it. "See you soon. See you soon." Back on her feet, Alara carries the last of her tea toward the lane that leads home. The sky has turned a sweet, bruised color, lavender near the rooftops, a deeper blue above, with a first star trembling into view. "Good evening," she says to the sky, and then she walks inside the word, letting it be the way she greets the whole world. "Good evening. Good evening." At her gate she pauses. The garden smells of rosemary rubbed by the wind. A moth visits the candle in her window, flutters, decides against the flame, and rests on the sill. She steps into her cottage and closes the door softly, like tucking the day into its bed. The quiet inside is clear and friendly. She sets her small bag on the table, unwraps the bread, and places fruit in a bowl. She moves as if each action is a kind sentence. She lights a candle. She draws the curtains. She smooths the quilt. She sits. After a while, she stands again, pours a little water, and drinks. "The water is cool," she says, and the truth of it sets her deeper into calm. She writes 3 lines in her notebook, not because she must, but because it delights her to see the day on paper. I am walking. I am buying bread. The water is clear. She closes the notebook and lays it by the candle. The flame sways once, twice, as if nodding. Alara changes into her nightdress, combs her hair with slow strokes, and opens the window just enough to let the night enter. Crickets begin their steady hymn. Somewhere, far off, a dog barks twice and then remembers to rest. The first star becomes 3, then 7. The room grows silver at the edges. Alara pulls back the quilt and lies down. The mattress welcomes her back like a friend who has kept the shape of her. She arranges the pillow under her head and rests her hands, palm down, on the blankets. For a few breaths, she only listens, the way she listened to the river, listens to the small sounds of a home that forgives the day and gathers itself for the night. Then she speaks the line Mira carried like a treasure. I feel calm. She lets it fill the room once, and then again, I feel calm. I feel calm. She adds another because the day has earned it. I feel happy. I feel happy. I feel happy. The phrases spread through her like warmth, like tea, like the good tired after kindness. Her eyes drift toward the window where the star-sprinkled sky is a quiet language of its own. Good night, she whispers to the sky, to the river, to the market, to the children and cats and moths, to Mrs. Quinn, to Mira, to Mr. Rowan, to the fisherman, to the herb seller, to the tea stall owner, to the path and the bridge and the stones that kept her steps safe. Good night, good night. Breath by breath, the last of the day loosens and falls away. Words rest, muscles rest, thoughts rest. The candle's flame lulls into a small oval of light, and then, with a soft puff, Alara blows it out. Darkness becomes a gentle room. In that room, a few phrases keep glowing like coals, steady and warm. I am safe. I am ready. I am resting. She doesn't need to repeat them anymore. They repeat themselves the way the heart does, the way the river does, the way morning follows night. Sleep arrives the way a door closes, quietly, kindly, completely. And in the hush, the lines of the day arrange themselves into a poem she does not need to read to learn. Tomorrow will come, and she will step into it with the same slow grace, the same simple phrases, the same patient joy. See you soon. See you soon. See you soon. Part 4. Gentle Conversations Before Sleep. Section 1. Evening Reflections. The stars are quiet tonight. The village is silent. The wind is soft. Alara sits on the wooden bench outside her small house. She closes her eyes. She whispers to herself, I am calm. I am peaceful. I am safe. Her voice is soft, almost like a song. She repeats the words slowly. I am calm. I am peaceful. I am safe. She remembers the day. She remembers her walk, her talk with Mira, her visit to the stream. She repeats simple sentences in her mind. I was walking. I was talking. I was listening. I was learning. She smiles. These sentences are small, but they are powerful. She breathes slowly. She knows the listener. You are here too. She whispers to you. You are calm. You are peaceful. You are safe. You are learning. The night teaches her that rest is also learning. The body sleeps, but the mind listens. The heart rests, but the words stay. Section 2. Short Conversations. Imagine two friends meeting at night. Their voices are soft. Their words are simple. Friend 1. Hello, how are you? Friend 2. I am fine. How are you? Friend 1. I am tired. I want to sleep. Friend 2. Yes, you should sleep. The voices are gentle. They are not fast. They are not heavy. Friend 1. Good night. Friend 2. Good night. The conversation is simple. The words are easy. But still, you are learning. Still, you are listening. Still, you are practicing. Now imagine another small talk. Friend 1. Did you eat dinner? Friend 2. Yes, I ate dinner. Friend 1. What did you eat? Friend 2. I ate rice and soup. Friend 1. That is good. The sentences repeat. They are short. They are kind. This is the rhythm of English. This is the melody of simple practice. Alara whispers with the night wind. Good night. Sleep well. See you tomorrow. Section 3. Gentle phrases to practice. Now the story becomes softer. The rhythm becomes slower. The goal is sleep. Alara repeats phrases like waves in the sea. I am listening. I am learning. I am resting. I am sleeping. She gives you more gentle practice. I will wake up tomorrow. I will feel good. I will learn more. She imagines herself teaching a child. Say, I am happy. The child says, I am happy. Say, I am sleepy. The child says, I am sleepy. Say, I am safe. The child says, I am safe. The repetition is simple. The rhythm is slow. This is not only a story. This is practice. This is sleep learning. Section 4. Closing in silence. The moon is high. The stars are bright. The world is quiet. Alara whispers for the last time tonight. You are calm. You are safe. You are sleeping. You are learning. Her words fade like soft music. The story becomes silence. The silence becomes sleep. The night holds you. The story holds you. The words hold you. Tomorrow you will remember. Tomorrow you will speak.